afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Mike Davis. I am the acting unit chair of the MCJ Guild, a labor union part of the News Guild in New York. We represent the journalists at the Asbury Park Press, the Home News Tribune, and the Courier News. Nobody in this room is denying that OPRA has to be updated, to be modernized, which is the word that we keep hearing. But even with these amendments, you're still being asked to consider a bill that is fatally flawed at its very core. Supporters of legislation will tell anyone that will listen that this will not impact members of the public, members of the press. These amendments go out of their way to make special exceptions and custom breaks for commercial requesters, but I'm here to tell you that members of the press, members of the public will unequivocally have a harder time accessing public records under this bill. And again, somebody mentioned it here yesterday, and it's important to say it out loud as much as we can. Public records, they are public records that belong to the public. I forced your colleagues in the Senate to listen to a laundry list of stories and like great journalism that is out there that could not be done without OPRA. I'm going to spare you the laundry list because it's Friday. They have a lot of people that want to talk. So I'm going to focus on one example. 2020, me, my colleagues at the Asbury Park Press and Bergen Record, we published an investigation into private school bus companies. These companies that put reckless drivers, in some cases, literally a registered sex offender behind the wheel of school buses to transport kids to school every day. When they got caught, they would just dissolve their LLC, start a new one, put it in the name of like an uncle or a brother, get another contract, none the wiser. Chairwoman Swain, this should sound very familiar to you because you and Senator Tully and Senator Logano were the chief sponsors of legislation to stop this behavior, and that legislation became law. You should be proud of that law. I am proud of that law. We will leave the discussion why the executive branch is dragging their feet doing anything about it to another day. But I can tell you directly the work we did on that story that led to those changes could not have been possible under the changes proposed in this bill. We would have been denied records every single step of the way. We were hit with outrageous fees that we had to fight back. It would have been much harder. It's just a story that does not get done. This is the kind of stuff that's possible under OPRA, and I think there would be a lot more of it if we had a real frank conversation about how to update OPRA and modernize it. We shouldn't be talking about restricting access to public records. We should be talking about opening up that access. We're behind Florida. Like, Florida is better at this than us, and that makes me so mad. Transparency is not dangerous. Transparency is healthy for democracy. I think everybody on this panel will probably agree with that. What really scares me is that there are parts of this bill that don't just make it harder to obtain records, they actually like serve to scare people away from getting involved in the process. You've heard a lot about fee shifting over the last couple of weeks and months. It just makes it really, really hard to pursue a perfectly valid legal challenge when your records are illegally or unreasonably denied. That's a problem. If you do wind up in court under the amendments in this bill, now the onus is on us to prove why we shouldn't be charged an outrageous fee. That happens to everybody. My colleagues in the press row, find any of them, they will tell you about some $1,000 fee they totally try to charge them for the simplest of tasks.
Okay, that's time.
I'll just wrap up and say at its core, even with the amendments, this makes it harder for the press members of the